Hey guys, my name's Rami. I'm an entrepreneur. Let's go.
Corridor.
Yeah.
So it's really just like lifting it up and over.
So the car that ends up here came all the way down this previous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, like, these robots are really just to give us through access.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to pick it up and transfer it to the other robot. But I think like like a design improvement we should do is like really just the one robot should just pass it to the other robot.
Just pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
there's a third one above us.
Yeah, it's like it puts it on a table. The table rotates. General assembly kind of operates in kind of a U. So it goes, cars coming over there, go all the way down here, and then all the way that way.
Okay.
And you can see the car get progressively more complex as it goes down the general assembly line.
First of all, I'm loving Elon Musk. He looks like just a everyday kind of guy. It's exactly the same way I would run through my business. Not to say I'm anything like Elon Musk, but I just love the way he just you could tell he's casual. As a matter of fact, before I looked at his face, I thought he was just a factory worker taking somebody on a tour, but you could tell his passion, he's involved in the business. The robotic way of putting the car together, I mean, that would be available for any car, but this guy is doing an electric car out of it. And that's where Tesla is the next level.
General assembly is what I was talking about as being really well suited to people. Like it's pretty hard for a robot to like connect this on.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's depending upon how it comes out of the box, it could be like in a little different position, but it's pretty easy for somebody like, oh, it's like, I just need to move it like an inch.
Probably really hard to write software to kind of know to adapt in all these different ways.
If you try to have the robot do this, you gotta have like a complicated vision system, and then like the vision system faults out, it's not quite right.
You know what I'm wondering here? I wonder if he bought an old factory, like an old car factory that was already existing, because the floor doesn't look that polished, that new. So I don't know if he bought like an existing car manufacturing plant and he flipped it to Tesla. Because there's plenty of factories that make cars, right? There's thousands and if not millions of models that are made around the world. So I'll just keep an eye on that. Because all he had to do was buy an existing manufacturing plant for a car and then swap it to Tesla and just do a couple of changes. Let's have a look, but
We have a robot in our studio that moves the camera around, and the hardest part is when it faults.
Yeah.
You need a person there to know what to do.
Exactly. So
Hopefully that doesn't happen much.
like for parts that are complicated and fiddly, like wiring harnesses are especially difficult. You see how like the wiring harness kind of needs to snake through the car.
Yeah.
It's literally like winding like a snake through the car.
Yeah.
You got to like poke it through holes and do various things. That's super difficult for a robot.
full respect, I'm not having a go at him at all. But I could tell by the way he's explaining how the wires are going through and how the snake and all that, I could tell that's not his field. But full respect him, he doesn't need to know all that bullshit. Let an expert worry about that. He understands enough to explain, but I could just tell by the way he's speaking about it, because he's not using terminology, he's not using what would be used in the car industry, he's just explaining it like a layman. And again, that's next level. Because you don't have to understand everything about the business you're in. That would be crazy if he did. He's probably the expert on working out how to make the company float, what the future looks like. That's where his brains are. He doesn't have to know how the snake and the wire go through. So you could see that. I could see that clearly.
For a robot. See like how they're like putting the part of the air conditioning system there?
Right.
So you use like a little bit of mechanical assistance with the winch and whatnot. But then it's pretty
Winch and whatnot.
for the guys to just like get that in there, and then like if they see there's an issue with the part, then like they say, oh, this part's got a problem. We'll put it over here to get fixed.
Again, it's not a diss. He knows so little about car manufacturing. It's just one part of what his whole business or his company is about. One part of his making. That's all it is. But there's so many other aspects to his business. And the same tour he would have had with one of his engineers, he's just passing on to this gentleman who's taken through the factory.
All right.
But you can see like when you look on the inside of the car, you can see like how many little complicated little pieces there are.
A lot.
The things that are meant to for insulation, corrosion protection, airbags, road noise. Like it's all this stuff that gets put in here.
Yeah.
You can see like these are like the side airbags here.
Okay.
Wow, he knows the side airbags. I'm really impressed. Yeah, but again, I'm just so impressed. I'm shocked. But that just tells me what kind of brain he is. And that's why, again, I know I'm having a wild guess here. I'm saying that plant existed already. And he just flipped it to a Tesla plantation. That's all. You know what I mean by plant, yeah? Like a factory.
It's like, you see like how like there's like a lot of tricky pieces. For a person, like this is like doable.
Straightforward.
Yeah, it takes a bit of training, get up to speed, and it's like hard for the robots to do that. But when we go to the body welding, I'll show you like what's, you'll see like there's tons of robots, like tons of people here, tons of robots there, but there's so much complexity and variation here. You gotta like thread those wires when it comes through.
Especially
like,
here with this door.
You know, this place used to employ like about 5,000 people, and now we got 10,000 people just in this location.
Yeah.
So what we do is we have like tons of shuttles and like we encourage ride sharing.
What a mad idea he's got. I'm thinking of so many car plants that have closed around the world, right? And I know one specific one, Ford, which is a massive one that closed about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And that's all he's done. I'm telling you, that's not it. And you're welcome to check it up. Comment down the bottom. He did not build that plant. That plant was existing. I know it. And it's a wild guess, yeah? It's a wild guess, but I love it.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh, this is actually, like, this is one of my favorite dumb robots.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a fan right now.
It's pretty cool. So like, there's a lot of fancy robots that like, but they have like lots of issues and they break down all the time. These little guys are super great. But like, they follow this magnetic stripe. See, basically, it's like super easy to program. You don't even need to be a programmer, because you just like lay down the mag stripe,
and it'll follow it.
Yeah, it just follows the mag stripe, and then just like does this like little thing all day long, like a little train. Like you were talking about robots faulting out, doing things manually can actually be more efficient, because if you have like a lot of complicated robots, particularly if you have a 24/7 operation like we have with Model 3, then if the robot faults out, you got to have 24/7 like advanced robot technicians.
Makes sense.
And then if the robot like accidentally crashes and like breaks a fixture, then it's like, man, okay, now we've got the line down. It's
you
like
have to
red alert, and then I get pulled on my cell phone at 2 in the morning, and it's.
So he's talking about like a robot breaking down, right? Somewhere along the assembly line. It doesn't matter what you're manufacturing. Once that plant line is designed to work 24/7. So once a machine breaks down, you got to understand that the flow on effect, the whole line will stop, right? So this is why it's very important. This is where Elon is focusing. So if a machine breaks down, there's got to be someone there to straight away be able to fix it. Otherwise, there's another 200-300 people down the line waiting for that car to come, and everything will stop. And I want to add one more thing there. The thing is about manufacturing cars today, it's all robotics. That's why cars are so cheap. If you remember, I mean, if we go back 10 years, cars were a lot dearer than what they are. So you notice that car prices, now you could buy a car like at under $10,000, a brand new car. That's because it's robotically made. There's less labor and it's automated. And remember, I've said this in other videos and I'll say it again. When you've got a robotic line, that thing has got to work 24 hours. Remember how I talked about supply and demand? You can't have the factory stop because that's the most expensive part. So the more cars you make, that's what influences supply and demand. You know how you see every now and then a massive car company go, oh, cars are only $899, come and buy one now, you know, $8,999, and all of a sudden they drop the price or they give you back a kickback because they've overmade cars. They're making more cars than demand. You see where the discount comes from? Sorry, going back to his point, that's what he's going on about that robotic machine. It can't break down. And if it does, there's got to be a substitute straight away to go in there.
Do you build the robots or do you order them in and program them?
There's like different classes. There's many different types of robots. So the giant robot that we saw lifting the car is like that is a catalog item, but then we have to program the motions,
right.
and the end effector is custom. Okay. So the end effector that picks up the car, drops it off, that's a custom made thing.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you kind of like buy this like powerful arm, but it's just like having an arm stuck in the ground, and then you're like, okay, what does the arm do?
You got to tell it everything to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you got to put sensors on it and put fixtures.
So those machines, those robotic arms would not be bespoke just for Tesla. They would be for any kind of car brand. Maybe they do change it a little bit but like what he said, I think he's saying it right there. You know, there's little figuration that they will do just specifically like any other industry, specifically for that product, which is Tesla.
Oh, okay. What is the most popular paint color coming through here?
That's black.
Black?
Yeah. It actually varies
Black.
by
I love black cars.
Interesting.
Like,
so you could see the Tesla, see how we could see the inner guard of the car. It's a mold that could say on it Rami, you can say on it Toyota, you can say on it whatever. But tomorrow I could buy that plant off if he wishes to sell it to me, and I could just get new molds and we could call it Rami's. But like what I said, the genius is not there. The genius is the marketing. The genius is how he talks about his brand. That's where the genius. And he's not the only one with electric cars, right? There's plenty of other brands, but the genius is the marketing behind it. The genius that it's made in the States. That's where his genius is.
The white and black are like black is slightly more popular than white in the US, but in like Europe, it's way more popular. Like white is a very rare color in Europe for a car.
Okay.
In the US, it's like, it's about even with black. Black and white are the two most common colors.
Got it.
And here you can see battery pack. This is like, this would be like a mating station for the battery pack.
Oh, this is literally connecting the battery to the car.
And of course, the battery is what makes it, right?
Here you can see it's like a combination of manual and automatic. So
it's like they're lining it up.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's done primarily by the robot system, by the automated system, but then you've got a person just making sure that the fine tuning is there.
Look, the beauty of a business like that, once you make one, it just keeps on going. It's a genius of a business. And the other point that I just wanted to make that he added in there is, see how he's saying like the robot can only do so much, he still needs somebody there to make sure. I mean, that's any machine like that would still require just a little bit of a human eye just to make sure that things are going in the right place.
I think I asked about that a lot. I actually like the aesthetics of matte. It's really tricky to repair matte. So like with gloss, you can polish it out. With matte, if you get like a little ding, it's really hard to then rematch so it looks like an even matte.
Yeah.
You can't just like, you know.
That's a fair point, yeah.
So it's durable. It's something actually we would like to do matte in the future. But like right now, for example, like the paint shop's really operating at full tilt. So adding any complexity to the paint shop would not be wise right now.
So again, the paint shop, so the paint part of the plant or the factory, call it plant, is got to match the rest of the line. It's no good having the paint line too slow for the rest of the plant. That's why he's happy to not even go down the colors of flat or the matte colors, which are really in at the moment, because it's got to suit the rest of the factory line. Otherwise, it doesn't financially make sense.
You've mentioned you've slept in the factory to be able to immediately like diagnose problems and hands-on fix what's not right. What type of things happen that you can immediately fix or immediately take action on?
Actually, last 3 months last year, I mostly spent at Gigafactory, help fix the battery production. It's a module production, and it's a lot of little things, like looking at each little tiny part, each process. Say, is the process necessary? Like, because the best part is no part, process is no process. And occasionally at the design level, you think something's necessary, but then it turns out it's not. So it's just like making sure, connecting between design and manufacturing, make sure we close the loop on that.
It doesn't matter how much you plan, I guess. That's what he's trying to say. It doesn't matter how much you design when it comes down to executing, and that's what he's saying. So you plan as much as you want for the battery, but when we're executing, there's always a little tweak. And that's business. That's anything, even if you're building a building, whatever you're doing, there's always little tweaks when it's the last minute, when your hands on. There's always, and that's what he's saying. He's in the factory sleeping there because there was little tweaks required, and he was there for those little tweaks.
Saying like, hey, is this? Let's say it's a lot of real simple stuff, but it's like times 1,000.
Yeah.
So if we have like a automated bolt driver going in, like what's the RPM, the torque settings for the bolt driver? Can we make that go faster? Usually can. Unnecessary movements. Like for example, I actually don't really like the fact that we lift the cars over and back.
Ideally, that would be a robot handoff, getting rid of a middle stage.
Yeah, exactly. Because the middle stage, what the robot is like putting it on a turntable, and then the turntable is rotating, and the other robot's picking it up. It's actually, the problem is like sometimes the turntable breaks down.
Oh.
And so, so it's like, okay, let's eliminate the turntable and just have a robot go to robot. And then you don't have like turntable breakage to consider.
So it's a lot of minimizing things that can go wrong and maximizing the efficiency of...
100%. The word is just said, efficiency. That's what Elon Musk is about. He doesn't care how a turntable works. He doesn't care how you run the wires. He's just like, I could see this. Let's make it more efficient, guys. Get the engineers. How do we get this to move to here quicker? How do we get this to move to here more safe, in a safer way? How do we get this machine to do this without damaging this? That's where he's thinking. That's all. He doesn't have to know all the ins and outs, but he knows about systemizing, and about efficiency. That's where the brain is.
All right.
It's like design necessity of every part of it and every process.
Yeah.
The speed at which, especially the robots are going. Is there any unnecessary movement in the production line that isn't value added? Like we're not actually doing something.
Yeah.
Like replacing elements of the production system that are
not needed or redundant.
Yeah, exactly.
What a video, what a factory, what a magician. He didn't care that he doesn't understand nothing about cars. That's not what stopped him from building cars. That's the easy part. The hard part was he knew what it was. Where was the niche market? Where's the future? This guy is doing from A to Z. He's doing the manufacturing, probably the buying of the parts to the final marketing. So this is the other bit that's genius, right? So those plants became worthless in the developed countries. They couldn't compete with Asian countries. So we started relying on Asian cars, whether it was from Japan, China, Korea. They were the main manufacturing plant. First world developed countries stopped making cars because they couldn't compete with the Asian market. But Elon Musk, what they did was they still grabbed the plant, but they did something unique. They bespoked the car. They made it an electric car. They made it a car that the Asian market was not in, and the marketing and sustainability behind it, that's where the genius is. He grabbed an old factory, I know somebody like that, that's grabbed an old factory and developed it into something modern. I'll tell you who that person is in another video. See you guys, hope you enjoyed it.